Welcome back to Tiny Little Victories. I'm your host, Jennifer Kite Powell, and wow, this is officially season 2 of Tiny Little Victories. And the reason why we're doing it this way is because we can, but because we wanted to make some changes in sort of some of the sounds and how we brought guests in, because everybody's all over the world, scattered all over the world, except for Kyle and Will, who were here with me in my studio in Dallas. So this is the beginning of season 2, and you're going to hear a little bit of a different send-up coming up here soon. So hang tight and wait for it, because it's going to be new and it's going to be fresh.
Powered by Riverside.
Yes, welcome back to Tiny Little Victories. I'm Jennifer Kite Powell, your host, and today we have a great guest for you. He is in Costa Rica right now, but before I hit the button and let him come on to this recording with us, I want to again thank everybody for listening. Wow, you guys are listening and I love it. So thank you so much. Just as a reminder, we're on Spotify, Anchor by Spotify, go Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and I hope you can tell, but we have a little bit of updated technology, a little bit of a new microphone. We're using Riverside FM, go Riverside. So I thought this might make a difference. Again, this whole thing is a test. It's like live and learn. So while you settle back into your chair or listen in your car, I'm going to bring Martijn Tjho into this call with us. Hello, Martijn.
Hi.
Oh, I'm so happy. I was just telling everybody that we have this new podcasting tool and you were in Costa Rica and I was going to hit a button and let you in and you would magically be there, and you are.
I am on
Yay.
top
How
of
are
the
you?
mountain. I'm very good, thanks.
Good. I really appreciate you taking time from your secret magical holiday in Costa Rica to come on this podcast and talk a little bit about what you're creating with BIYU. But first, I'd like to get in the Wayback Machine a little bit and go back and sort of talk a little bit about how we met and how you've moved from the entrepreneur that you were then to where you are now. And I was trying to think about this, but I think we met in 2007. Is that right?
Yeah, it must have been around 2007 because I founded
Huh.
Fuga in 2006, and I think shortly afterwards we met.
Yes, and I remember that we were introduced by the infamous, I'm going to call him infamous right now, Morten Lund at the time, with another Danish mafia, Soren Kinner. And after you started Fuga, I remember that you and I went with a few other people down to Gras, and we stayed at Soren Kinner's house out there overlooking that beautiful view with the lavender, and you cooked up a storm. You were like Martijn the chef that weekend, I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
You do remember. You're very quiet. I'm going to take my energy down. What?
Søren Kenner passed away.
Oh, well, now that I did not know. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he passed away. I think it's almost 2 years ago now. Morten is still alive and kicking. But Søren is not amongst us anymore.
He's got like 9 lives, that guy.
Yeah, maybe even a couple more.
Maybe he might have 12 lives. Well, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now, because I really love the concept of BIYU and what you've created with that company. talk to me about how you got to that point. You did a lot of music startups, and then you've moved into circularity and sort of sustainable way to create a company and to maybe change the world a little bit. How did you make that move from the music startups to BIYU, and where did that idea come from?
Yeah, so that idea really came from, I guess,
Did we
a
lose you?
search for meaning. In your life, I
We may
think
have
you're always
lost him.
searching for.
I feel
Sorry, can
like
you hear me?
probably when you're in Costa Rica, you shouldn't do anything but just wear flip flops and a bathing suit and have a book.
Yeah, I'm not even wearing flip flops right now. Can you hear me?
Okay. We could not hear you. So that's why I
Can you
said
hear me
maybe when
now?
you're in Costa Rica, you should. Yes, now I hear you.
Okay,
Were
great.
you able to hear the question?
Yeah, I was able to hear the question. So,
Okay.
I mean, I guess my journey as an entrepreneur went really from trying to establish myself and make money. So, kind of from a drive that maybe came from trying to prove myself to my parents, to my friends. And once you achieve that, it's not so fulfilling at all. And you're trying to think about what is your next move. And then you're going to go and work with a product that you really love. And in this case, this was music. Music
Mm-hmm.
is my love in this life. And then when you have done that, what remains. And for me, what remains is really trying to leave a legacy where we thrive in harmony with the nature that surrounds us. So I was
Mm-hmm.
really taking that kind of thought train and trying to think of a way to use my skills in technology and entrepreneuring and apply that to create business models that are having a positive impact on people's lives and a very small negative impact on the planet.
Yeah.
I
I
came from
think
the
it's
music business.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point that you made a little bit ago about how sometimes when you first start out and you're younger, you are aiming to please so many other people, and the person you're not thinking about pleasing is yourself.
Yeah.
So I remember many years ago when we met, sitting in a square in Amsterdam in your neighborhood, and you were telling me how when you were younger you wanted to be a chef, and your father told you had to get a real job. And
Yeah, no, actually, that story was a little bit different, but it
okay,
comes down to the same thing. I
okay,
was a chef in the early stages of my life, but I very
ah,
quickly found out that, as a chef, you're never going to make a lot of money and you're never going
yeah.
to be free in the weekends. And, you're going to kind of get stuck in that kitchen. And so I wanted more out of life. I wanted to explore. I wanted to find ways of yeah, putting myself out there in a way where I could create, because this is what really drives me. It's the real energy to create. I love making
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So
Yeah.
and at this point in my life, I don't want to make stuff because I want to get rich, or I don't want to please anyone else but myself. But I do want to please Mother Earth. I do want to help
Yeah.
her with my skill set and with my talent. So this is what I did. And then I thought of the music business because I was right there when in the music business we went from ownership to access. And when that point in time was there, everybody was like, oh, the music industry is never going to make money anymore. This is over. And I never believed that. And look where we are
Mm-hmm.
today. I mean, the music industry is yielding more cash flow than in any previous time in history.
Mm.
And that gave me the
Yeah.
idea for BIYU. I mean, BIYU is about creating access to everything that you need once in a while
Mm-hmm.
through an app. BIYU stands, by the way, for Bob's Your Uncle. So
Bob's your uncle. I
really,
love that. Bob's your uncle.
yeah, really the idea is that, our planet is in distress. We have too much waste. We have too little resources. We have a thing called global warming that is caused primarily because of consumption of people. They want to own everything, and I think we can do better. So the idea of BU is very simple. It's providing a platform that gives access to products that you need once in a while, and we only provide access to the best products. So there's no more
Okay,
need
so
for
let's
inferior products.
okay, so let's for everybody, let's break it down out there. So say I want to chop down a tree and I don't have a chainsaw and I don't want to buy a chainsaw. I'm just using that as a product.
Yeah.
So in the concept of BU, Bob is your uncle, I could go and rent that,
Yeah.
or how does
So
that work?
we have
Explain
two.
us.
We have two ways of accessing that chainsaw.
Okay.
You can do a pay per use. So you want that thing for 4 hours. We charge you a rental price for 4 hours. We
Oh,
drop
did you
it
say
off.
pay per use?
Yes.
I love that. Pay per use. That's so brilliant. It's like pay per view, pay per
Yeah.
use. Okay, this is great.
Right. So you pay a fixed fee for that period of 4 hours. We deliver it to
Okay.
you within 2 hours, and we pick it up when you're done. That comes at an extra cost. The delivery is a last mile solution that is an integral part of our platform, but we charge
Okay.
extra.
So
Or you can take
you
it
would pick it up and drop it off would be extra, or you could go to
to the hub.
a
To like a
hub.
BU
Okay.
store.
Okay.
And then we have also a membership program. So it's like a Spotify for products. You pay 15 euros every month, and you have unlimited access to all the products in the catalog each time for 24 hours.
Oh
Right? So
wow.
today
So
you have a
I
chainsaw, tomorrow you
yeah.
want to have a KitchenAid, the day after a standard pedal board, then a DJ set. That doesn't really matter. That all fits within that 15 euros. And if you want us
Okay.
to deliver it and pick it up, you pay an extra fee.
Okay. So this is brilliant. I've never heard of anybody doing this. So I'm gonna try to unpack it here a little bit. And so first of all, you just launched your first physical store in December of 2022, right?
Yes, that's
And
correct.
prior to the brick and mortar, how were people getting access to these products? Were you like pedaling a bike around the Netherlands and taking it to their house, or was there just a hub?
We had a small proof of concept hub in the center of Amsterdam, which was actually out of a part of my house. Full disclosure, I had a big house. So I had
You
120
always have
square.
big houses, Martijn.
Yes.
You always have the most amazing like mansions just in the most interesting places in cities. You're like I don't know how you do it, but they're amazing houses.
Yes, no, I have good house karma. So, anyways, we did it from a proof of concept setup that was just like 100 square meters. We had like 120 unique products, and of each product, some of them we had just 2 instances, some of them we had 20 instances because we did deals with the brands upstream, right? So, the
Oh,
brands we
okay.
provided a platform for circular business, and downstream consumers access to these products through our app and website.
So would you have to buy, did you have to buy all these products, and how did you decide what, like chainsaw? I love your chainsaw, paddleboard, KitchenAid, mix master. How did you determine what products you needed, number one? And did you have to lay out an investment to get those products, or was it just a
Yes.
concept to these guys? Okay.
Yes. No. So we had a bunch of brands that came on board and they provided us with the products. So just to prove our concept, we got a couple of €100,000 worth of products that the brands provided us with, and the
Mhm.
rest to get a large catalog we bought. We bought directly from the manufacturer just so we could start with a big catalog from the get go. And then,
Mhm.
we had a couple of electric cargo bikes, and we started out in Amsterdam. We did some marketing, and we did a lot of experiments to see, how could we acquire a user in their need, right? So if somebody needs to drill a hole, we wanted to be right there through search engine optimization and through search engine advertising. So that worked really well. So within a couple of months, like within 16 months, we had 4,000 customers using the service in Amsterdam.
Wow.
Then we opened up a full-size hub where we have, now we have more products. Now we are close to 200, and it's growing very fast. And then we're opening up Utrecht in in 2 weeks' time. No, actually 10
That's
days,
amazing.
a second city. And then the next move is to open up 10 other cities in the Netherlands
Mhm.
and open up the platform for every company out there that wants to rent out their assets. So we figured out.
What's the motivation for them, for a company to rent out their, let's say that they have a new chainsaw. It's like a Wi-Fi chainsaw. It's a smart chainsaw, and they want to maybe get the product out there. Would that be an avenue for them to think, we've got this new product, we want it
Yeah.
to get into the hands of people? Okay.
I mean, I think that there's a lot of things. In the beginning, I was really in my, in my hippie mindset, thinking that the world wants to become circular.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a main driver. But then I found out these big brands that make the best products, some of them, for example, Kärcher, the yellow high pressure washers, they have
Yeah.
a 95% market share in the Netherlands. And
Yeah.
strategically, they want to go into rental. But rental software isn't that easy because you got a really tight process to manage, right? So it's normally
Mhm.
in e-commerce or drop shipping, it's pick, pack, and ship. And with us, it's pick, pack, ship, return. And in that return, a part can be missing, a product can be broken, a product can be dirty. There can be all kinds of things that need to be managed throughout that process. So we built the software and it's working like a charm. So really, if you go online and look at the reviews that we get from our customers, they really love what we're doing because it's so fast.
Yeah, they really do. It's
Yeah.
really, but it's interesting because just because it hasn't been built doesn't mean people don't want to do this. It just, the idea of living in a buy consumer mode, it doesn't mean that's the way it has to be, because
No.
I own a house here and I need a power washer. I
Oh
don't want
yeah.
to buy
Well,
one. I
consumers
don't
are
want to buy
totally ready
one.
for it.
Yeah.
Manufacturers are not, because their business model is based on shipping units. So the more units they ship, the more successful they are. And this is where we say, no, you ship less units, but you get more revenue per unit, right?
Yeah,
So
I
that's
want to
the whole
insert.
idea.
Yeah, I think also we could use a really great example of when you look at the auto market, the car market, and just like 10 years ago, if you recall, people like, no one's going to want to share a car, right? No one's
Oh,
going to
100%.
want to buy a car, or like they have these new car programs where you would only buy the car for a year, just for less. It's not even a lease, right?
No.
And then you would sort of turn the car back in and get a different car, or you could share that car purchase with somebody else. Now, years ago, I don't think everyone's like, we want our car, our big trucks, we got to have our car. But you look at the market today and how people are choosing to consume, and you see that manufacturers have really had to get on board with that, right? You're seeing, car share programs instead of car purchase programs for, 35 and under. You look at micro loans, how big banks no way would have ever thought to do that. And people like Klarna and Afterpay are saying you buy this merchandise and you can spread it out over. I mean, this is a disruptive model, Martijn. I mean, what you're describing is a systemic change in people's behavior, which I know you've talked about before, and behavior on both sides, consumer and manufacturer.
Yeah, no, I guess that's, look, I think that if I make an analysis about what's helping us at the moment, there's a bunch of different things, right? So the idea of climate change is really putting consumers into a different mindset. Also, all the waste in the world and all the pollution that comes from it. So that's kind of on the downstream side that really creates a demand. On the upstream side, there's a whole bunch of different problems. There's a lot of supply chains that have been disrupted for whatever reason, whether it was the COVID pandemic, whether it was the shortages of chips. So there is just not enough resources to provide every human being on the planet now and in the future with everything that to own. And it just doesn't make sense also from a capital utilization point of view.
Yeah.
Very inefficient use of capital to buy something that then 99% of the time is going to do nothing somewhere in a cupboard or a drawer. Right?
That's so true. Like this chainsaw and this water compression. Like I would like to borrow it for a couple of hours, and then I don't want to put it in my
That's
garage.
it. So some products are not very suitable. They're very personal, like jewelry or sex toys or things that you don't want to share with someone else because they're really part of who you are. But most of the things that surround you and that you don't use all the time, but you use occasionally, those products, if you then can get the access to the best possible instance of that product, hey, you know what? Bob's your uncle. Then you've really solved the problem, because imagine this at scale. Imagine every city in the world you go to and you have an app and you need a car, you need a cargo bike, you need a drill, you need a pressure washer, you need a boat, you need, whatever you need, it's there.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
wonder
that's super sustainable. You kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, what do you think the sort of how do you see this growing out of the Netherlands? Because we know that the Netherlands is ahead of a lot of countries in Europe and way ahead of the States in terms of changing behavior. Maybe it's because it's a smaller country, but how do you see this growing and spreading out across to the States, if any? I mean, I can see it here.
No. So we have actually, it's a layered strategy. So the next big step that we're going to take is we're going to open up the platform so people and companies can use it. Like we become like more of an Amazon of rental, right? So we provide the software and the app. So from a consumer point of view, you have the BIYU app, and upstream there's all kinds of different
I think we lost
suppliers and
him
different
there for a
regions.
minute. The
Okay.
Amazon of rentals is what
Yes.
the last thing I heard. Okay.
Yeah. So upstream, you have all these different companies and people that want to make a rental business, and they use our platform to upload their assets and to manage the whole process. Downstream, you have our app, and consumers, they can see wherever they are in the world who's near with what product. Right? So that's kind of one layer of the strategy. The other one is to open up hubs. And what we see already, this is so crazy because we are so successful in Amsterdam and now Utrecht. We have municipalities of other cities coming to us and paying us to come and roll out this platform in their city. So we get space to build a hub in, we get capital to get started, and we get access to people that need to get employed. And we get big subsidies on that. So I think that this is not something that would happen in the United States, but in the United States, I see this happen again because there's so many assets laying around there that can be rented out. So this business will grow.
Yeah, I think I love how you outlined that because I think it's just inevitable, right? All of those pieces, all those components, they will all come together because it's a lot of behavior change, but also sort of forward motion in terms of how we want to consume and how we want to also protect or not damage the environment so much.
Exactly.
Um,
And one thing
yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
really proud of, and this is something really people don't realize, because any rental experience you currently can have in the world, you need to pay a deposit, right? You need to probably go somewhere
Yes.
outside in the city to get access to that particular product. Then you get a rundown product, the old adage of don't be gentle, it's a rental. That's how this business is structured right now. Right? We took a whole different approach from a branding point of view. We make it super easy. You press a button, and within 2 hours, the product is in front of you. Now, that is something that is not existing anywhere on the planet. And then also you've got the best possible product. You got all the information on how to use that product, safety instructions, all of that is recorded inside the app. So you can really go. And this is what this is why I believe we are successful, is because we really figured that out. We spend a lot of time and
Mm-hmm.
money to build a platform that's seamless, that's really quick, that helps the user to get the job, that whatever job they're wanting to do, that it gets done because they know how to do it. And this is really where this is going. And
And
yeah, and
if you're
how it will
talking to
grow
people
exactly.
out, if you're talking to people outside the Netherlands, what sort of feedback have you gotten from people that when they hear this concept, is it something that
They
they want to?
they love it. They give me.
Yeah.
I got like literally on my LinkedIn. I get every day. I get messages from, hey, come to London. I want to run London. I got people from Germany saying, hey, we want to run Germany for you. So we
Mm-hmm.
got so much people interested in this concept and reaching out. And I'm just at this point in time, I just want to perfect it. And then in 2024, I really want to start aggressively rolling it out.
Well, that's really smart. Now, I think was a question I was going to ask you. Like I said, you've had a lot of successful music startups, and so one of the things that I do know about you is that you have like two speeds, like totally on, really fast, get it done, and super chill, Costa Rica, laying back. And I'm wondering, was there anything from your past, from these startups, that sort of you've been able to modify a little bit, because you just said I'm going to really perfect it and then go further next year, which is a different side of you. Do you think that you were able to learn from some of the lessons in the past to be able to sort of take it down a notch and be able to really watch something mature before it goes crazy?
I've learned so much from the mistakes that I've made in the past. It's incredible to see how I've personally grown and evolved to the person that I am today. And I think that one of the most important lessons, and I really stick to it, is that don't scale until it's really kind of working. And what with really working, I mean unit economics and operations. So, I'm not going to scale until I know I can acquire a customer for 10. That customer is going to spend 20 with a margin of 50, right? Before that, it
Yeah.
makes no sense. So this is really actually where we are today. So we are now able to acquire a customer for 16 euros, and we know that the customer lifetime value is going to be 90 euros, and we know that we make a margin of 50%. So now we are really ready. So we're going to scale in the Netherlands first, from one hub to two hubs, from two to 10 hubs. Then we open up the platform for other vendors that want to start a rental business, and then we will go internationally. And before
And
that, so we,
how, yeah, and how would that be in terms of I guess my question about rentals is the word sounds so down market to me. Like it's rental business. And to me, you're more like it is more circularity. It's like borrow this, and return it back. Because I do think that when you rent a power washer from the Home Depot here, it's always rubbish, right? It's
Well, this
a
is
little
the, but
bit,
this is the big difference, right? So first of all, we are digital first company. Second of all, we
yeah.
only work with the best brands. So every product that's on our platform, you cannot find a better product anywhere else. And
Hmm.
this is really our promise. It's best product, best practice. So this is really how we approach it. And it's not so much focused on, these experiences when you have a rental car, decide to try to upsell you insurance.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
there's a
Oh,
little
yeah, it's
scratch,
everything.
they're going to take you to the cleaners, We don't want
Yeah,
to do that. We want to make this business grow to the next level. The business is purely
yeah.
based on trust. So with people don't pay a deposit with us. We do our KYC through same KYC companies that banks, neobanks do it. So once you're
Hmm.
in and you've proven to be a good customer, we don't bother you with things like deposit. We don't bother you with shit that's not important. We're not gonna,
Yeah.
take something out of your deposit because there's a little scratch on the product.
And
That's
that's
not what
again
we do.
changing a model. That's truly disruptive, I think, because
I think so
that
too. And you know what is the
yeah.
other beautiful thing that I never thought was going to be true is we take all the data that we harvest from the usage of these products and funnel that back to the brand's product development departments. And we're actually getting paid a lot for it because now they know, oh, after using this drill 100 times, this particular part always breaks. So let's make a
Oh,
better part.
oh
And
my
I
God,
never
wait, I
thought,
hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about that. So if
no,
you say somebody uses this chainsaw for like 100 times and you can see the wear on the product or when it works or and you can feed that back to the manufacturer so then they can create either a better product or alter the product so that those things don't happen. So you are basically product testing for them
exactly,
and making money on both
exactly.
sides.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then
Good
another thing
job.
that happened, yeah, and then another thing that happened is we were talking to these high-end action sports like kite surfing, snowboarding, companies that also have really expensive clothing, right? So a ski jacket of 2,000 euros and a kiteboard of
Hmm.
5,000 euros, and you're only going to use that for a week, 10 days a year.
Yeah.
So they came to us and they said, can we launch our newest versions on your platform so the community gets to know them? But it's not something you buy because, not many people can afford a $2,000 jacket to go ski. So now we're also looking to
One
be a
time.
product. Yeah, exactly. We're also looking to be a launch pad for these brands that want to launch their new products. They don't have their manufacturing all lined up, right? They just come out with some prototypes and they want to see whether it resonates. So we got all these crazy opportunities coming our way every
I
day
love
from these
that.
brands that are looking to, improve. And I think that the circular aspect of it, investors and brands are not that much interested in it, but consumers really are. And now we just need to connect the dots,
Wait, what do you
because
mean brand? What do you mean investors aren't that into it?
they just want to make money. They don't really care how.
Well, that is a really good. Let's put a pin in that because, I think they're part of the problem why the tech startup community is so busted, so full of malignant tumors, so full of shucksters and people making things where they're not thinking about the tie to one, the consumer, two, the brand or the manufacturer, and the environment. And it sort of, I feel like at some point I hope that we'll move past these guys because I feel that they create more toxicity and they stop really good ideas from going to the market because they can't see $5 signs right at the very beginning. And most of them don't even have any experience. They've just had a bunch of cocktails at a trade show and then they think they can judge a startup.
You remember when we were in Barcelona when I had this investor inviting me to go out hunting giraffes with him? I called
Oh,
him the
yes.
giraffe killer. I
Yes,
mean,
I remember this jerk.
there's a lot of assholes like that out there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people that don't really care about anything but their bank account. They don't realize that they're
Yeah.
going to die anyway, and the last thing you're going to take to the next level, whatever it is money, right? So I think there's a change going on. We've got some impact investors on board that really
Yeah.
love what we were doing, and they put their money where their mouth was. But it's not been easy to get this funded because this what we're doing is super capital intensive. But we are finding people that are actually doing that, and also a lot of angel investors. But the majority of the big money is still looking like, whenever I get a no from a VC when we ask for the next check, and I ask them, what companies did you invest, right? So the last time I got one company that what they do is they have a group of people all over the world, and then you as a consumer, you don't have the money to go on a holiday, but you can have somebody walk you around Berlin. And 20 million euros went into that company. And I'm like, yeah,
that's what I mean. It's just literally like these gobs and gobs of money going into just piss ass companies and ideas that won't even be around in a year or two. And yet you clearly are drawing the connection between supplier, brand, supply chain, consumer need to do something or change a behavior, and the brands need to improve or change their behavior. Like behavior change,
but
as you and I
is the
both
most difficult
know.
thing in the world.
Exactly.
So
And
behavior, man. It's
I mean, we could talk about it forever. Behavior change is so very hard. And I think that if we don't take the time now to really start to look at these things, then we're going to be worse off than we are down the road. And I'm always discouraged when I hear that from investors, but then I think, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Look at the people that banked, Sam Bankman-Fried, whatever his name is, SBF. Like, who totally bought that? Like, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, no, but this is greed, right? So greed is a root cause of many problems, next to entitlement, right? So this is a big problem. But at the end of the day, the good news is that there's a lot of people out there that actually think of the future. They think of the children that are in the world right now and that will be in the world in the future, and they want to create something that is, close to prosperous.
And that takes a behavior change. Like that,
but that behavioral change is really hard. Because this ride for most people is like, oh, it's a short ride, this life, so I'm going to get everything out of it that I can. And they don't really think about the consequences for the next generations. In that sense, I'm different. I'm profoundly connected with Mother Nature. I do believe that it is my purpose to serve her. And it's my purpose to create a business that, anticipates what's going to happen with all the pollution and all the climate change. Because imagine a world 20, 30, 50 years from now where you have not 60 million displaced people, but you got 1 billion people that are displaced because of climate change. They're all knocking on our borders. We have resource shortages all around the globe. Hey, you know what? The moment it starts really hurting, then people will change. And I just want to be ready for that moment.
Yeah, I hope that people will, because I even think about the pandemic and how, it caught everybody off guard. And I felt like we were hurting, but I don't think we showed our very best behavior as humans. I feel like, what's it going to take for us? What sort of cataclysmic shift or failure will it take for that change to actually come around? And I think it's going to be happen. Yeah, I think it's going to be big. I mean, we couldn't even handle not having toilet paper during COVID. People were like knocking people over for toilet paper.
But the good news is when you have an event like that, then you see how quickly political systems can change, how quickly decisions can be made. So the good news, the silver lining, is that what the COVID pandemic showed to me, that when there is a will, everything is possible fast. Laws that change, you name it.
I love that.
And I think at one point in time, things like planned obsolescence for manufacturing of products is going to be illegal, and you're going to go to jail, or you're going to be fined if you apply that to your production process. Things like that are going to happen. If you have a circular business, you're going to pay less VAT and taxes than when you're not. When you have a business that creates a very large negative footprint, you're going to pay for the cleanup. So the world is going to change. It's only going to take a long time. And before there are these cataclysmic events where really people are going to get hurt, nothing is going to really move fast. So that in our business model, we really want to have great value for the consumer now, and build on that. And then once that, consciousness kicks in, because we cannot continue the way we're operating right now. And once
we can't. I mean, it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable.
And once that becomes mainstream, that's the moment when we are completely ready to service the world with our business. It takes time. My previous business took 10 years before it really became a big business. You don't build a business overnight.
No, you do not build a business overnight. And I think that's part of the short-sighted thinking of some of these investors. And I think, like you said, not building a business overnight, behavior takes a while to change. But if you look at the clock and you look at the heads, like, you have to start somewhere, and we have to start somewhere. And this, when you told me you were doing this, I at first was like, of course he's doing this, because I've always thought of you as a very kind, like, you call yourself a hippie. You are, but I
I'm
think
totally
in a
agree.
very realistic way. You're very sensitive to how the environment and how the climate is. You're sensitive to people and how they're using things and who they are. You also like nice things, your preparation of food and how you treat people when they're in your city. Like, you have a very gentle soul and a very gentle touch, but a very focused business mind, like a mind that can see we have to move beyond where we are. And I think those two combinations of things make what I feel would be a, a perfect entrepreneur role model, someone to look at the effect of what you're creating on not just yourself or your bank balance, but on the people around you, on the planet, on the next generation of people that are coming. And I loved your ads, your BIYU ads. They were great. I will try to see if I can get one in here. I'm still learning how to podcast with all this technology, but before we go, I wanted to ask you, is there one particular tiny little victory, or do you think over your span of your life has been a lot of victories, or is there anything that stands out at you that put you where you are today?
Um, I mean, it's a whole series of victories, but also of the opposite of a victory, right? Of a defeat, of failure, complete and utter failure. I mean, at
Yeah,
the end of
I
the
think a failure is a victory in a way, because it really
in a way
shows
it
you a
is,
lot.
because you learn something. But I think
Yeah.
one of my personal small little victories. So I'm an avid smoker, right? You know this. I try to
Yes.
quit all the time and all of that.
Don't bother. Don't
No,
bother.
no, I stopped bothering. But what really changed for me 9 years ago is that I would always, when I was done smoking my cigarette, just throw it on the street. And suddenly I got to this point in my life and to this point in my head where I was like, hey, you know what? If you want to lead by example, you cannot throw your cigarette butts on the floor. You cannot, you have. And really, since that day where I had this real kind of like realization, I've never ever thrown a cigarette butt on the street anymore.
I
And
think that's a victory.
that
Yeah.
for me was a little victory. And when I, after 9 years or 8 years, still was doing it exactly that way, I found that I did this in so many other little things where I used to be kind of like, taking
Really?
a shortcut. And now I'm actually, whether this is food preparation, whether this is, if you want to do something, do it right. Don't
Yeah.
don't be an asshole about what you do.
That's so
Just do it
interesting
right.
about you were able to look at that and see how it actually was manifesting in other little things. Sure,
Yeah.
you're right about cooking or knives that aren't quite sharp enough, or yeah,
Your fresh produce. Where do you get your fresh produce from?
oh,
Your meat consumption. Why do you have to eat meat every day?
yeah.
The
Awareness, though. It's
awareness.
awareness.
When you see somebody that is homeless and they ask for a little bit of money, why not give them the €2 or the $2 to get them a cup of coffee? And who cares if they buy
Exactly.
meat from it? At the end, we have
I
we have so much abundance. Why not try to help the world that
That's
surrounds?
so true. I mean, I never keep cash on me anymore, but I always use my card, which I know isn't a great thing, but I do keep dollar bills. Once a month, I go and get like $20 bill, $21, and I put them in my car. And when I'm driving, I get to a light, I always pull out a bill to give to somebody.
Yeah.
And I feel good. I like it. Maybe I'll give them $2, but I don't know that person's situation, right? And
No.
I think
And,
you have
and
to have a little equanimity with everything you do in life. And that's been part of the thing I've done for the past several years, is just keep a little in the car, because I never have any in my wallet. But I,
and think of these people. Imagine you have to sleep on the street. Imagine you
mm,
don't have a home. You don't have people that love you. Give these people a hug, help them out, listen to their story, give them a buck. Don't be an asshole.
I know it's so true. Don't be an asshole. I love that.
It's so simple, because you could be in that position. You could lose everything
Yeah.
that you have today because of some weird coincidence, and now you're
Yeah.
on the streets without money, without
I
family.
mean, I worry about that a lot. And I think, here in America, I don't know when they did this, but maybe it's 10 years ago or 12 years ago. They just basically turned out these health facilities, mental health facilities. They closed them, the state run ones, and just dumped these people onto the street.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And if you
I
then
mean,
look at cities like San Francisco, where there's so much wealth and where there are
and then
so many
so much
homeless
not,
people, I mean, it would
oh,
take three guys to solve that problem in
and
a
they
couple of
don't.
years.
And
And
yet,
they
and
don't. You know, they
yet
rather buy
they
another
don't.
island or another yacht, or
It's
go out
crazy.
party with a
Build
bunch of
another
people.
house
I mean,
somewhere,
it's
right?
stupid. Yeah,
Change the name of their company and then
yeah,
mask all the evil there and just call it something else. Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
It's not my cup of tea. So without wanting to complain about anybody else, I try for myself to conduct myself in a way where my kids have a future where they can thrive as much as I did. This is
Yeah.
why I'm doing this.
Well, I love that you're doing this, and I really love that you've called in from your secret location in Costa Rica to talk to me today. And I know that you and I could talk for hours because Martin, I wanted to let everybody know that we were speaking before the holidays about talking, and I had a hot water heater accident, so I had to cancel that. And I said, I'm going to a place where there's an energy vortex. And so if we talk from there, I don't know what would happen. And Martin said, well, that's like bringing cocaine to an AA meeting because once you and I get going, it's very hard to stop us, which is one of the reasons I love who you are as a person. But thank you so much for coming here today and talking to us. I'm so excited about Bob is your uncle, BIYU. How do you say it?
BU, BU,
BU. Yeah.
yes.
And I'm gonna put this in the show notes so you can follow this. If someone's visiting the Netherlands, say for a week or a month or something on a vacation, do you have to be a Dutch resident to use the
No,
service?
you don't
Or
need to be a Dutch resident.
okay, there you
No.
go. Everybody going to the Netherlands and you want to power wash your windows in the flat you're renting, you know what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And also try to look at another little project. We didn't get a chance to talk about it.
Oh,
It's
tell me.
BU Habitats, and this is circular villas for the tropics.
Oh, wait, no. How did we not? Let's talk about that for maybe 3 minutes. So, where is this? Why you're in Costa Rica?
Amongst other things, yes.
Okay, well, tell me tell me what this is and how can I do it?
So it's biohabitats.com. You can see what we did. It's a whole construction
Okay.
system with bamboo, plastic, steel, and glass. And we built the most beautiful villas that are completely circular and self-sustaining. So energy we take from the sun and from water. Water is there's a whole system that purifies the water, waters the plants in
Mhm.
the garden, comes back to wash your toilet or provide showers or drinking water. It's a whole kind of ecosystem where the idea is not to have a small impact, but to actually have a positive impact when you place a house in a natural habitat. So the water comes out cleaner than it goes in, and all of that stuff.
So where's the first one of these can and we obviously I'm going to put all this in the show notes for everybody in case you want to go and stay in a BIYU habitat, but where's the first one and is it available for people to come to now?
It's not yet. It's the first
Okay.
ones will be ready in actually like 16 to 18 months from now, and they will be in
So
Guanacaste in
okay.
Costa Rica, between Samara and Santa Teresa.
Okay.
And actually, I'm here to buy a big ranch, so we're going to develop more of those. And
I think
you're
I
going to
should
be
come
able to.
down there.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's so beautiful, and the idea is really simple. You want to live, you want to have a home in Costa Rica. You can just go to biohabitats.com and purchase the villa together with the land.
Oh,
Uh,
wait. So if you want to okay, so if I want to I have by the way, ever since I went to Costa Rica, I've been in love with it. And I when I was there last time, I was looking at properties and looking at places, et cetera, et cetera. And so I could if I wanted to build something, have something be sustainable, built from recyclable materials, I could go to BIYU Habitats and you guys would build that for me on this speck of land.
yeah, yeah. So
That's
either you have the
brilliant.
land yourself, or we have the land. We have bought a lot of land here in Costa Rica. So we can
That
either provide you with
is
a pristine piece
brilliant.
of land, or you have your own land, and we can just place these villas on it. And not just
Okay.
in the beginning, it's just villas because the investment to the factory, because it's all prefab, is pretty high. So we want to have
Hmm.
expensive units, but it will also provide smaller home units within the next couple of years.
Okay, so I'm going to put both of these links in the show notes for people. I am super excited. That means in about 18 months, I can possibly have the piece of property that I want in Costa Rica, thanks to you, Martijn Tjho.
Yes.
All
Thank you
right,
so
well,
much
thank you so
for.
much. Have a lovely evening. I hear the birds in the background, and I really appreciate the time. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, so welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that recording with Martijn Tjho. You know, it really made me think a lot about my actions and my behavior in the world. I've known Martijn for a long time and seen him passionately tackle his startups in the music business. It is his heart and soul. His belief in things is just so inspiring. And listening to him talk about BIYU to me has been another reminder about how important passion is. Passion to create things because they help you help the world in ways that you think you can make a difference. I think passion because it's very difficult to wake up every day and do things that you don't love, and you're not living a true authentic experience if your life is not guided by passion. It could be passion for, accounting or being a manicurist or a dog walker or anything that gives you passion. And I think Martín's startups also make me think about the consequences of my behavior every day. I do recycle, but sometimes I get sloppy, and I also consume, and sometimes I don't need to consume. So why? Why do I keep consuming? It's programming. I have it. My neighbor has it. We want it, but we don't. And I love that he's trying to create a change and a shift in how we consume things, own less, do more. I love that. So I hope you enjoy this episode. And I also want to let you know that we are also now available on Radio Republic. First, I thought it was Radio World, but it's Radio Republic. So you can listen to us there as well as iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, go Spotify, Anchor by Spotify, go Spotify, and keep sharing with your friends. And I really appreciate everybody listening. There's a lot of people tuning in, and it means a lot to me to be able to share these stories with you for the people I've met around the world for the past 20 something years. And anyway, that's all I have to say. So I leave you with this. Have a great day.